they want. They don't want communities coming together. They don't want people standing together and voting them out. So they are relying on everybody not voting. Oh, there's a lovely bride over there. She's got a gorgeous dress on. Congratulations. So, please, what's happened to me is actually irrelevant, because where I'm living now, even though I was chased out of Oldham by a man called Mohammed Imran Ali, i.e. Irish Immy, i.e. knobhead, i.e. convicted heroin dealer, i.e. getaway driver for Dale Cregan, who murdered 2 police officers, one of them from Oldham. He's best pals, married to boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever it is, with the Oldham Council leader. He chased me out of town because I got threats after he shared my face, I know it's beautiful, my home and my name, into 18 Islamic groups, calling me a far-right racist and that I was not suitable to stand in the local elections. I then got threats of, we know where you live, we're going to rape you, we're going to burn your house down. I had to flee for my own safety. I went to Somerset. I flew. I did an house exchange from one council house to a housing association. I went to Somerset. And then Irish Immy sent me a message. Hope you're enjoying Somerset. So they know exactly where I am. But where I am now, I'm in a beautiful home. I'm 20 minutes from a beach. I've got a gorgeous area. And you know what? As much as Oldham will always be my home. And who knows, I may come back and go against Jim McMahon again, just for the sheer fun of it. Just for the sheer fun of it. I might do, because I can. I'm allowed to. In the general election, I'm allowed to. And I might just come back just for the fun of it, just to piss him right off and see if Andy Day wants to arrest me again. But Greater Manchester Police are as much complicit in covering up as politicians. Please remember that. There's a gorgeous little girl here, and all I want to do is wrap her up in cotton wool, because she's very, very young, and she's a target to so many people, and it's awful for us to even think that, but that is the truth. So thank you very much, Rochdale, and I might go and have a look round and while I'm here, because I don't live here now. I'm Yorkshire now, but do you know, I go out in Yorkshire and people say, you're not from here, are you? I go, no. But Oldham will always be my place.
Tell by the accent, that's how you know.
That's how they act, yeah. So please, if you've all got neighbours, you've all got family, knock on the door, start conversations. If they don't vote, please, start having conversations with them. Tell them how important it is for you to go out and vote, because that's the only way now that we're going to get these people out. And as for the children, the reason I went up in the first place, I have got many survivors in my phone right now who I still support, who still contact me. Some of them are from here, a lot of them are from Oldham, and they will not rest until they get an independent investigation. They do not want a truth project. They do not want what Labour and Jess Phillips are trying to push under the door. So she is. So please, if I agree with that. I made an effort today, and I've only come Rochdale. Even Billy's got a suit on. You know what I mean? She can't even rock up at Parliament. You know. No, she can't wash. I washed my meat today. I'm glad it's not rain. So please, all I ask is, the most important thing is now, the only way now that we can get these people out is by voting, and that's got to be your most priority. We've all got local elections coming up in May. So how many months is that? Well, that's if they've not cancelled your elections. That's if they've not cancelled them, because there's that as well. But we've got what? 7 months? We've got 7 months. You've got 7 months to start knocking on your neighbours' doors, talking to them. Take them some cake and say, can put kettle on. And by the way, are you voting? And if not, Do you know what? We can't beat them, we can join them. We can all have a postal vote. You don't have to go to a polling booth, you can still have a postal vote. But the thing is, people need to vote. And vote independent. Go for your independent people, because they're not whipped up like Labour, Lib Dems and Conservative. Anyway, thanks for having me.
Hey, mate,
Once
right.
more time for Deborah Barrett-Cole.
Seen you in Blackpool last week.
Okay, before I move on to our next speaker, bit of a surprise here. So for the first time ever, I've actually got my team with me. They've never ever stand in
Hey, mate,
this
alright.
because I don't let them. I don't allow them. They're working on the front line. They're working with survivors and they run. But it's about time they got the respect they deserve. So a big warm welcome for Emma, Michelle, Jen, Jade, wherever you're riding. She's over here. These guys work relentless every day, Monday to Friday, making sure your children are safe and making sure that the information that needs to be brought in is brought in and helping those that need it every single day. They never turned up before. I just want to make sure they know I love them all to bits, and I want to make them to know that you all love them to bits for what they do as well. So one more time, PAGUK staff, ladies and gentlemen.
Yay!
Next is one of my favourite people of all time. If it was up to me, he wouldn't be Mayor of Great Manchester, he'd be Mayor of Great Britain. This guy is a legend, and he's Mr. He knows what he's saying, Mr. Nick Buckley. Mr. Common Sense. He didn't hear you guys.
Hello everybody, and thank you for that warm welcome. Let's start off with some facts. The facts is, we're winning. 5 years ago, if I'd have stood here 5 years ago and told you where we were today, most of you wouldn't have believed me. Most of you would have thought, no, we can't get that way. We're going to lose this battle. But because we kept coming out, because you kept coming out, because of social media, because of X and Twitter, this has become a national issue now. And everything we've been doing has been proven to be correct. Everything we said has turned out to be correct. And regardless of who you are in the country, who you are in the world, hardly anybody will accept the rape of children. Hardly anybody. That's why we know we're on the right side. Now, driving here today, I passed a bridge just round the corner, and it said, Home of Cooperation. And I thought, well, that's perfectly correct. It is the home of cooperation. Because the police, the council, and the elected politicians all cooperated with each other to hide this
is in
crime
Rochdale, this.
and
We're
to
in
hide other stuff as well.
Rochdale,
But this crime,
PAGUK
particularly,
rally.
they got together and they decided votes are more important than our children. How evil do you have to be to put votes ahead of children? But that's what went on. And it went on for decades and decades. And we were called names, we were called racist, we were called idiots, we were called, you've got mental health issues, this is a conspiracy theory, this never happens. But that's all changed now, because this is discussed now in Parliament. This is discussed around the world in other people's parliaments. This is discussed by the most powerful people in the world. Because it's factual now and we know it to be true. And it's been admitted and we've got the reports. But, as Raja said, the Labour Party will not allow this report to come to the conclusions we know the report will come to if it's a free and fair investigation into this. They cannot allow it. They will not allow it. They will make excuses, they will delay, and they will delay until after the next election. No Labour government will commission this report to be released before the next general election. They can't afford that to happen. They won't allow it to happen. They're hoping we're going to forget about this. They're hoping they may not be in power anymore. They're hoping they'll get away with this. But we know they won't get away with it. It may take another fight. I mean, I think we've won this fight. I really do think we've already won. We've not crossed the finish line yet, but we've won this race. Because we'll never put the lid back on the box now. We never will. I will class this fight as over when we have some senior politicians in the dock and then in jail. That's what I want to see. Because this is a form of being a traitor. This is traitorous. And I want people in jail. Not just the offenders, not just the perverts and paedophiles. Let's lock them up as well, fantastic. But if we're going to make sure this never happens again, if we're going to ensure things worse than this will never happen again, then we need to make sure the people who allowed it to happen and covered it up, we have to ensure they go to jail. Why shouldn't they not go to jail? At the end of World War II, we hung Nazis for what they did. We hung them. Now, we don't have the death penalty in our country, but at least we should send them to jail. Absolutely. Now, I've seen some signs around here today. Sue your perpetrators. Fantastic sign, because this is a new way forward. If you've not heard about this, there's a gentleman, a solicitor called Robin Tilbrook. I interviewed him on my YouTube channel about a month ago. So he's a solicitor, heard about the grooming gangs, heard about the men who went to court, were found guilty, so this isn't, we think he's guilty, found guilty in a court of law, and then he decided to himself, do you know what? If this was any other crime, the victim would take that person back to court and sue them. So he said, I'm going to crowdfund this. And he found the victim willing to do it. First of all, he tried to advertise in newspapers what he was doing. Basically, no win, no fee court case. If you're a victim of this, we'll go to court. And the newspapers wouldn't take his advertisement. Imagine that. Imagine newspapers saying, we're not going to take your money as a no win, no fee solicitor. But eventually he found somebody, and he took her perpetrator guilty. He took him to court and he sued him and he won. And that victim has been awarded, I think it's £420,000 as a victim. And they've took his house. They've took the perpetrator's house and it's going to auction to be sold. And she's going to get £420,000 as compensation. Now, I call that a victory. Yeah. I call that compensation for those girls who went through that. I'm talking about other paedophiles. We should be looking, going, oh, do you own a house? Do you own a business? Have you got money in a bank account? Do you own stocks and shares? Because we're coming for that. Because not only are you going to pay by going to jail, we're coming for your money. Yeah. What are you going to do?
She sat on the railway lines. She had nothing on her life. She was raped and tortured.
And committed suicide.
The perpetrators went to jail, came out, and they lived near her. So she left her town, went somewhere else, but she got no support, nobody. And social services didn't look after her. And she cried to social services and gave up and went and sat on railway lines. And that was the end of her. At 33 years old.
So sad.
She should have been sitting on a pile worth $500,000 instead of sitting on the railway lines.
Yeah.
That's shabby.
And absolutely. And we've got, there's many cases of these girls who end up killing themselves because they can't cope, because they're broken. We allow them to be broken, and eventually people in that pain say to themselves, I need to end the pain, it's too much. And I'm sure £500,000 isn't going to stop the pain, but it might stop future paedophiles going, oh, I might lose everything I've built up. And we might use that money to find more paedophiles and prosecute them and get some of the politicians in jail. Now, everything we're doing today is on social media. We've got cameras everywhere. Hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people will see these speeches, will understand more what's going on. That's how we know we're winning. And everybody here today, you've contributed to that. This isn't a one band, this isn't just one person who's managed to do that. 20 years ago, if you was here 20 years ago, 10 years ago, you were the people who kept this flame alive because everybody else wanted this flame to go out. Nobody wanted us to be here today. They wanted it all to go away. And if you've been campaigning for this for decades, you've kept this alive because everybody wanted it to die. So I personally thank you for the people who have been pushing this, people like Billy and Raja, because no one wanted this. No one wanted this. With a pain in everyone's backside. But it's justice, that's what we need. So thank you very much for coming out today. Keep sharing. The internet is where we're going to win this. That's why we are where we are today. It's the internet. They can shut all of us up individually. They can refuse to print it in the papers. They can refuse to get us on GB News and the BBC. They can do all that. But the internet's free. The internet's worldwide. They can't keep it off that. And that's how we're winning this. Thank you very much, everybody.
How you doing, mate? You alright? Good.
Ladies and gentlemen, the People's Mayor, Dick Buckley, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm going to slightly move on from Rochdale Oldham now. I'm going to start talking about another place that I became massively involved with over 7 to 8 years ago. And this is with Barrow. You all seen I went to Barrow. Many people in the movement said I'd stay away from that, Billy. Once Billy sees what Billy sees, he will never walk away. I will stay to Barrow and I'll stay there even till this day. However, before I start going on about Barrow and introducing the speakers, I want to just speak about a very special lady who's not here today, which is Ellie Reynolds. Yeah. But when I tell you what this girl has been through and what this girl has done, you'd be cheering your socks off for this girl when I mention this name. She has been an absolute icon in Cumbria in fighting against the abuse of children. She put herself above a parapet. She was absolutely destroyed by the Antifa left for over 5 years, where they hounded her and her family. And people like myself and the next speakers that you're going to speak to, we was all a victim of this left attack, because this girl stood up and said, children in my town, and I'm one of them, are being abused. The Cumbria authorities came round and said there's no grooming gangs in Barrow. So my next speaker is Mr. Ian Oakley from Hull, and he's going to tell you otherwise.
Me on. Right, thanks for the help, Billy. Right.
It was more to help me down than help you up.
Yeah, that's the one. Right, ladies and gentlemen, and Billy, thank you for giving me this space today. As Billy's just been going on about Barrow, my story's involved in Barrow, Rochdale. Is that better, Mike? Is that better?
Yeah. Cheers, bro.
Hold it closer. Oh, okay. Right, so I got involved in this by pure accident. I was watching a Sky documentary about abuse of young girls in Hull, in Yorkshire, which I've been reminded so many times today. I couldn't believe that it was happening in Hull, so I wanted to know more. I went into it, and I started a group up called United Hull. We started demonstrating. There was an operation called Operation Marksman, which was looking into what had gone on. I campaigned for 4 years to get the operation reopened because it was closed, because there was no evidence. There was 34 perpetrators arrested and released. There wasn't enough evidence, apparently. I set United Hull up to campaign to get this reopened. I was successful. Over my journey, I met the people like Billy. When we got talking, and it all came about that the same perpetrators that were working in Hull, were working in Barrow, were working in Rochdale. It was the same group of people. I couldn't believe it, and they were all the same people. Takeaways. I campaigned, got it reopened, and it was reopened under conference. That was its tactical name. Now, that was in 2021. This is still going on to this day. One of the survivors has recently been arrested because she was accused by certain perpetrators of prostituting young girls. Now, this survivor, although is a very strong young lady, stronger than I'll ever be, suffers depression, anxiety. She's told me, I can't do it, I can't go on. Fortunately enough, and to touch wood, she's doing a lot better these days, but this is what we're up against. The authorities are forcing them to crack so they don't carry on with the case. And this is not just in Hull, this is Rochdale, Oldham, Telford,
everywhere you look, it's the same wherever you go. The authorities, it's what Nick was saying earlier, the authorities are the ones that are pulling the strings. We are slowly but surely cutting them strings, one by one. But we can't stop. If we stop, it all goes quiet. This national inquiry, will it ever happen? Not under Labour. I'm 100% sure it will not happen under Labour, because 99% of the councils were run by Labour when this is going on. They will drag their feet. Are they going to appoint a chair? Probably not. We need this change now. And what Debbie was saying, we need to vote. We need to get rid of Labour, because that is where it all lies. It's not just councils, social services, all controlled by Labour. And I don't believe anybody here believes any different. I think we all know the truth. The truth is Labour are the ones that are controlling everything. When it was going on in Hull, it was a Labour council. It's now a Lib Dem council. Lib Dems have just crawled away. They don't want to get involved. I've tried. They do not want, that was nothing to do with us. Humberside Police, exactly the same. All the people that were involved are no longer with us. They've moved on. It's all new. No, it's still there. There's still evidence. I heard a story today about evidence being buried in a room not a million miles away from here. This is the truth that is going on. We know we can't prove it because they've hidden it that well. Please, remember when you go to that polling station, vote. Let's keep going for the girls, keep going for the survivors. It's not just the girls, it's the boys as well. Remember that. Thank you.
Once again for Ian Oakey, ladies and gentlemen. Right, so sticking with the Barrow and Hull thing, because like Rochdale and Oldham, these abuse scandals go hand in hand. Like I said, the next speaker I'm going to bring up is someone who I met many years ago in Barrow. He was the first point of contact for me in Barrow, and he told me a story which he's going to share with you now. And from that story, all that we got from the establishment was there's no grooming gangs here in Barrow. Now, after a convicted grooming gang in Barrow has been convicted, now he gets to have his say, and now he gets listened to, because before that he was shamed, he was attacked by the left. Now he's here, he's proved that he was right. So let's stand up for him, let's give him a warm welcome. Jason McCulloch, ladies and gentlemen. Go on, get up. Yeah, get.
Good afternoon, guys. It's been a long time coming. I've waited since 2018 to try and tell my story. In 2018, I discovered my 11-year-old son and his friend came to see me to tell me about a bad man in an ice cream van in our local community on the Ormsgill estate in Barrow. I didn't believe him. I didn't believe there was a bad man. I believed that these people had to be checked, they had to have DBS checks. Same rigorous checks that I had to go through myself as a trader. We found out that the man driving the ice cream van was in fact on bail for some nefarious charges. He was on bail for alleged grooming of children and for alleged rape of several victims. Anyway, I went. My first point of call was the police, of course. You know, I wanted to know why they were driving around in an ice cream van. The police were powerless to do anything because these people were trading on loopholes in the law. That loophole being that they were trading as a delivery service. That meant they didn't have to have the same checks, the same vigorous checks that everybody else had to have. They were trading without putting the bells on. They would go around. They were in an ice cream van. 7 years later, that man has now been prosecuted and he is serving a life sentence of 28 years, along with his two brothers, for grooming charges, for historic grooming charges. Those charges relate to offences that predate 2010. In 2018, this same individual was still running around in an ice cream van. When I tried to expose what was going on, I was exposed as racist, or I was told I was a racist, I was a Nazi, I was a fantasist, and there was no truth to the allegations, especially by the businessman that had employed this paedophile. 7 years later, I've been proven to be right. You know, it's been a long journey. In 2020, I stood trial for alleged racial assault against one of the perpetrators from this firm. I was called racist, but I was found not guilty by a jury of my peers in February of 2020. In May of 2020, there was a case in Barrow which broke the Ellie Williams case, which has been quite controversial. It caused a lot of problems for Barrow because she did tell some lies. But there's always some truth behind those lies, and there's no smoke without fire. And this grooming gang did exist. So when Dean Holden, Chief Superintendent Dean Holden, stood on the top of Barrow Police Station and made a public statement to say there was no grooming gang in Barrow after an investigation, he lied, because he knew that this man was on bail for rape along with his 2 brothers. That is, in fact, a grooming gang. 3 or more is a gang. If anyone disagrees with that, can they tell me any different? I still think it was a gang. But 7 years later, he's been prosecuted, and I'm still here trying to fight and trying to expose what's going on, trying to change the laws. Everybody is guilty of aiding and abetting these people. We have people coming in on boats, illegal immigrants coming in on boats now, and we know they're trading using apps like Uber Eats and Just Eats and Deliveroo, and we all use these apps. So I guarantee that maybe 30 or 40% of the people here have probably got some of those apps on their phone. If you have, delete them. Stop using these apps, because what we're doing is we're enabling this to continue in our communities by using these apps. We need to try and change the laws. All delivery drivers should be DBS checked. Imagine being a survivor and opening your door and finding your abuser delivering food for your local takeaway. The same abusers that walk the streets of the same streets that survivors walk. It's not acceptable. No. I'm not going to go on too long because I could probably stand here all day and shout. But thank you for listening. It's been a long time coming. You know, there is much more to tell. Hopefully I'll get to do it again at another time. But thank you all so much for listening. Thanks for your time. God bless you all. And keep up the good fight, because together we can make a difference.
Together we can make a difference, and make no bones about it, ladies and gentlemen. We are the last line of defence for the little ones. Yes. Yeah. When the establishment fails, there's nobody else. It's us and only us. So we've got to do what we can to protect all our children in this town, and not every other town aside. So we're moving on now, and I forgot who I'm moving on to. I've got my list. I never write a list, but today I've wrote a list, and this is the time I'm messing up when I've got a list. When I don't have a list, I don't mess up. Do excuse me, right, guys? So I'm going to talk a little bit myself now, because I've had some speakers up, and I've got a few things that I really want to get off my chest.
Go on, Billy.
These are Rochdale issues. So, can somebody put this picture up below me? Cheers, brother. I forgot his name. I haven't really. Oh, better believe I'll never forget his name. This is Aftab, a Labour councillor. The very Labour councillor who stood in court in Liverpool and gave a character reference to a grooming gang. I just want to send them a message. Be it wherever I am, I'm coming for you in May. I myself am coming for you. I'm coming for you, big fella. And I'm going to run you right out your seat, because you should never have one in the first place. The minute you stood on the platform and said, these men are okay, even though they abuse children. So you're next, Aftab, you're next. And that's where you belong, on the floor. The next 3 I want to cover are 3 that shouldn't even be here. Abdul Rauf and his boys. Abdul Rauf were 3 member part of the Rochdale grooming gang who should have been deported over 15 years ago. They're on the 3rd appeal. They're still here. Now they're saying, oh well, we can't deport one of them because he's a role father for his children.
Oh my God.
This man raped and abused and trafficked the children of Rochdale, yet he's still here. The last time I held a protest, the day before the government released that these men are being deported, guess where they are? Still here. Guess what they hadn't done? Been deported. that's what we stood here for today, to fight against that, because the Labour Party have made a promise that these men will no longer be a risk to our children. And here they are, walking around Rochdale like they've done nothing wrong, and we've got to accept it. If we say anything to them, we're the ones doing the harassing. So we're going to push, we're going to keep fighting. Abdul Rauf and his 3 boys are going from this town and going from this country.
Yes!
I'm going to talk about Operation Lytton, which is live now as we speak. I don't know if everyone's seen it, but up until last week there was a conviction of 7 men in Michel Street Crown Court over 147 years prison. Thank you, establishment, because that's the first time in the 20 years I've been involved in child abuse that a proper sentence has been handed out to abusers. That's the very first sentence. 140, that's what we want more of that. 147 years, we've got around about 20 years each, which is for me, it's not long enough, but it's longer than the 6 years to give Abdul Rauf, who was back on the streets after 2 years, 9 months, walking around the schools, walking around the town centre, walking around the shopping centres. Well, the survivors hid at home from him because they didn't want to bump into him. Survivors like Charlotte Tetley, who was too scared to walk down her own high street and had to move to Macclesfield to escape them. Why did she have to move? Why didn't they move back home? Why didn't they go? Because there was legal migrants, but they broke the law. The law said if you come to this country and you break the law, you get deported. Why? They're still here. They're still here. They're still here because they've got a Labour councillor standing in court saying these men are okay, these men are fine. He's going in May, and he's one of the people I hold responsible. Many of the Rochdale people who are involved have gone. They've moved on. Like the coppers, like the social workers, like the council leaders, they've all gone, they've all moved on, they departed. But we haven't forgot who you are, and wherever you go, we'll be there to meet you, and we'll be protesting against you, whatever seat you hold. Yes, we will. As I speak to you now, Operation Lytton's not finished. Operation Lytton, still today, has 48 men on bail, in Rochdale alone, on bail for abusing children. Yeah. There's another 5 trials to go ahead at Michel Street Crown Court over the next 12 months. I told you when we stood here last time there was 64. Some of them have obviously been convicted. 2 grooming gangs convicted. The rest of them are yet to go. So this isn't over for us in Rochdale. We're going to go on now. We're going to get another 3 trials. And I'm just going to give you some of the information from this trial. Locking kids in basements, not letting them go home for 3 days. Whipping them with a kettle lead. I mean, some of the things I can't say on here because there's a child stood with us, and I don't want to go that far in, because her innocence is everything we have to defend. Yeah. Their innocence is everything we have to defend. At this moment in time, I'm in between politics at the moment, but I'll always be a campaigner against child abuse. I'll always fight on behalf of the children of Rochdale, of Telford, of Oldham, of Rochdale, and every other child in the UK that's under attack, if you like. We're here to help you, and that's all we exist for. That's the only agenda I have. Okay, so thank you guys. I'm going to move on now and open the mic a little bit to some speakers. Yeah, Dorothy, ladies and gentlemen. So Dorothy has been campaigning and fighting against the issues we have of safeguarding in under 5s in the schooling system. This lady's been forefront of that fight and been the most vocal in that fight, so please give her a warm welcome.
Hello Rochdale, can you hear me? Oh, yeah, I'm glad that there's at least one councillor in here that's turned up, because I've been banned from Oldham Council for disclosing safeguarding concerns that are still outstanding and have never been dealt with. Jim McMahon, it's covered up on his watch, and he's done it with Ofsted and with OMBC and with Red Robin Preschool. They've watched me be banned from Oldham Council and not be able to declare safeguarding concerns, and yet they can argue amongst themselves and not get banned. In fact, they get paid to have a row in Oldham Council's chambers. No, it's not funny. They don't do it. They shouldn't be doing it. They should be setting an example of being a corporate parent and a role model to our children. Instead, we've got men who just want to take the money, and women. Lisa Navesy, you told me you don't know how to safeguard children, but you've took the role of the Deputy Safeguarding Cabinet Leader, along with Shahid Mushtaq, who also cannot safeguard children. He even has to ask John Lawrence, what do I do? Well, if he can't do it and he's being paid to do it through our taxes, I think everybody needs to down tools. You're only going to affect them if you stop that money. Stop paying your council tax. It's a start. Because that's all they're interested in, because they've been overpaying themselves, having a right good giggle about it, going on the jollies, whilst our under fives are being ignored. They've been abused and they're still ignoring it to this day. Well, it's historic, it doesn't matter. That's what they say, it's historic, it's in the past. Well, when I brought wind the other day, that were in the past. Do you know what I mean? They think it's just a joke, and it wasn't meant to be a joke. It's not a joke. Our children are first and foremost. Every one of them matters. And I'm sick of telling people, especially women who have a go at me, who don't want me to safeguard their children because they're embarrassed that I've done it, because they've sat and watched it, because they've been on the committee, some of these people. Some of them are in council jobs and all sorts in Oldham. It happened in a church setting, and I'd hope that when it comes to this grooming gang things, they don't have a bishop or anybody from the church speaking out for the children, because they're part of and they're complicit in the cover-up. Ofsted have covered up, the church have covered up. My doctor, Zavid Chowan, is still trying to get me out of that surgery, and they've tried to stop me getting dental treatment and all sorts. I won't go to my dentist again. I had an ordeal in my dentist, I can't go anywhere. I had trouble in the hospital because Zavid Chowan and the dossier, they've told them all about me. I'm a whistleblower. I'm not ashamed of what I've done. I'd do it again, but they won't allow me to work. I've been denied my ESA for 7.5 years, and I went in the council offices yesterday in Spindles to get a form. He said, oh, you need to see the man at the CAB. And I told him I'd not had my benefits for 7 years. He didn't even react. I mean, is anybody shocked?
No.
My children are keeping me. People are giving me food, handouts. The public, people who I don't know. The Reverend Daniel Burton from Oldham Parish Church, and I think he does it out of guilt. He brings me a food bank. No, it's okay. He brings me a food bank every week. Sometimes he misses, he says, we haven't got one this week. Well, that week I don't need to eat, do I? But I think he's doing it because he feels guilty, not because he's concerned about the children. Because you know what he said? It didn't happen in my church. But it happened in a church setting, all the abuse I witnessed, in Gravelhall Methodist Church. I can name half the people, the parents, they're on the committee, parents who work there. They've all libelled me in all sorts. Along with Jim McMahon, Andy Burnham stopped me getting legal aid. I qualified for legal aid and they won't give it me. Do you know why they won't give it me? Because it's covering up for Ofsted. They don't want to know Ofsted because they want you to keep sending your children to school and preschool. I wouldn't send my kid to a school again. Not ever. Mine are grown up, but I'd pray that my grandchildren, great-grandchildren, whatever, they don't go to a church or a school, because the church is the first and foremost. They groom the parents before they groom the children, because they want a place in that school. Oh, they've got to go to Crompton House, it's the best school. All they want is your money. You're groomed. You're groomed before your children are groomed. And if your children say out, well, they used to get a clip round the ear when I was a kid, if you said out about them, but they're always telling the truth. The children always tell the truth. It's very rare you'd get a lie from a child if they come home and told you. And they never used to believe children, but I would believe a child over any adult. especially if they're in a situation where they're saying, can you keep it quiet, don't tell anybody. Because that's the one thing you don't say to any child, no matter how young it is, even if they're an under 5, you don't tell them it's a secret. Also, I just want to tell you, when I went in this council, the man from CAB is sending me now back to Manchester University for some legal advice. So I'll keep you posted if I can get that human rights lawyer, because I've been denied the security of an income for over 7.5 years. And if my children hadn't been looking after me, people say, well, why can't you do this? Why can't you do that? I can't even have a trip to Wales, or I'd love a trip to Wales. I can't even go to Blackpool. I can't even get a bus pass, and I'm in the middle. On the 6th of November, I'm going for another interview with a private doctor to try and get some help to get me money.
So, just let me quickly jump in on you,
Thank you.
my lovely. This is the price to pay for whistleblowers, so you understand why there's no one doing it. This is the
Yes.
price they have to pay.
Yeah.
You know, she's struggling to live thanks to blowing the whistle against the abuse of children. That should never happen in the world that we live in, ladies and gentlemen. It should never happen. So again, Dorothy.
Yeah, I hope you don't mind me telling. That is one of the reasons, because of the effects it had. But don't let it silence you. Do not be silenced by anybody. Thank you, Rochdale, and thank you for everybody who's shown up and turned out for the children. Thank you, Billy.
I've always got a platform here with me, mate. Don't you worry about that. If I speak in your next, yeah? Guys, there you go. A whistleblower has had to live under the breadline for the simple reason is she tried to protect children under the age of 5. If that doesn't get you angry, I don't know what will. So my next speaker is a lovely lady from Wales. Hey! Who's come all the way from Wales to speak to you guys today, so let's make her feel warm and let's make her feel Dorothy Lord, ladies and gentlemen. Dorothy can't stand up there.
It's on. Hello, yeah. Hi, Rochdale. Lovely to be back here again. I wish the sun was shining, but at least it's not. At least it's not raining.
Freezing though.
What have we achieved since I last spoke here? I have spoken in Ribchester, Lancashire, Newtown, Powys, and Haywood. Rochdale has featured in all my speeches. I have used Rochdale as a prime example of the grooming gangs. Last time I spoke here, I mentioned Child Protection Wales and how schools were including sex education lessons for children as young as 3 with no parental opt-out. Some of the teaching aids are pretty graphic, and I will give out some leaflets after the speech. So I ask you this question: are schools grooming your children? The powers that be argues that if a child smiles while being groomed, then they are complicit in the act and it's okay. We all have a common enemy, an enemy of pure evil, and we've seen it here. Evil on a scale never witnessed before. It has infected our schools, our universities, our churches, libraries, political representatives, judiciary, media, banking, government, royalty, and even our young children. Education wasn't for the masses, it was to control them. They have control of the system, and only the compliant will succeed, as Dorothy has illustrated with the school in Oldham where she taught. You have to be compliant, and if you step out of line, you are ostracized.
Just let me know, mate.
It is the children they're after. The grooming gangs have established this fact, but now they have moved on. They have found that selling sex is far more lucrative than selling drugs. You can only sell drugs once, but you can sell sex, as has been already illustrated over and over again. Today, I refer you to Kimberly Isherwood from Public Child Protection Wales. And we have a young person here, Jason, who goes round the whole of the UK, Scotland, Wales, England, supporting Public Child Protection Wales. And what Kimberly has done, she works tirelessly. She has produced templates for people to take into schools to make sure that they can get their children excused from these sex education lessons. Because, as I've already stated, some of the leaflets that they use in these lessons are graphic, and they're being taught to 9-year-olds. We are the children's only line of defense. Our children deserve a childhood. If our children are not protected, what is their world going to be like in the future? A life of grooming and trafficking. What is a world without innocence? Our children are their currency. Time to get active and say no, people, as has been said before. Stand up to them. Your children and your grandchildren are being groomed. Go to Kimberly Isherwood. See Child Protection Wales. You will get the templates from there to support you when you go into the schools to speak to the teachers. I want to inform you that Muslim girls will not be allowed in the sex education lessons. The Muslims already have Sharia law courts. They already have their own halal meals in the school. And if you go down Cardiff, there is.
Welcome to Rochdale.
Oh God, not behind me! My speech isn't that bad. The dogs don't have to have a hump. Bloody hell! You didn't even know your name, love. You didn't even know your name. Oh God. So, anyway, God now, are you listening, children? Are you listening? Right. So, anyway, done that. So that in Cardiff now, the meal you've got a halal meal. Sorry. A halal meal. But the other thing is, it's not just the halal meal. All the meat that goes into all the rest of the meals is also halal. So the Muslims can choose to have halal, but if you don't want halal, then that's tough. Or go vegan, whatever you want, yeah. But I don't know whether you'll get that. I don't know. So let me just go on now. In 2001 census, the number of Muslims was 1.6 million. In 2011, it was 2.8 million. In 2021, it was 4.8 million. You may think that is not a large number. Well, let me tell you this. With the numbers of illegals traveling every day and landing in your country, plus the Muslim men have 4 wives, and that's, even though it's not legal in this country, that is what they do. So how long is it going to be before you are out bread. So just as I dropped the info about the sex ed in school last time I was here, I want to drop another spanner in the works. The white Christian population and other ethnics are fleeing the cities like Birmingham, Blackburn and Burnley. They have been taken over. So I had a house in South Africa, so I'm going to give you a history lesson. Look at Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe was a beautiful country, but then it was taken over by the blacks. So blacks took over and killed the whites that remained. In South Africa now, and we've had a house in South Africa, we've lived there, we've seen the deterioration, and since Mandela, and we've had the repatriation without compensation, and the blacks are given the land to work. But what happens? The blacks are still killing the white farmers. And my concern is, and I know we all want to do this peacefully, and we know we all want to do this by voting, but the white man is going to have to take a stand. Not just the white man, the ethnic groups. The ethnic groups are going to have to take a stand. Yeah. Right, so because there's other people coming on after me, so I'll have to shut up there and I'll come back next time and give you another chapter. Okay.
God for the Lord, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm back again. The numbers are dwindling, so I'll keep it quick. One of the other fights I've been having for many years is the fight on Norview School, a fight against the abuse of young boys in a school set up by an MP of Rochdale known as Cyril Smith. Cyril was a prolific child abuser, and he was given power by the state to continue even after they knew what this man was. They fed him more children for the next 20 years of his career here in Rochdale. I work with these guys. There's not many left from Norview School. Many of them took their own life. Many of them died over drug addiction. Many of them just left. There's not many lads left in Rochdale, but the ones who are, I stand with. I'm going to bring somebody to the mic now who was actually in the area, in the field, and one of the establishment. I mean, I'll be the first to tell you, we've clashed on this issue before, but you know what? He's turned up here today and he's willing to discuss it with you. So let's give him a warm welcome, Colin Lambert.
Let's get a few things right clear. Cyril Smith was first investigated when he was the Labour Mayor of Rochdale. He became a Lib Dem candidate and stood for Parliament because Labour wouldn't select him, and they covered up the abuse. Also on that same council at the time was a Reverend Paul Flowers, who was caught in the Smith Street toilets. That was also covered up.
I'm just going to go and chat to
I'm proud of the fact that in 2010, I became, well, everybody said we're all right when you leave. 2010, I became the Labour.
Sorry, mate. I'm sorry. I didn't. 1 minute. Absolutely, mate.
Years, the first cases of the CSE taxi drivers grooming were prosecuted. They were taken to Liverpool in 2011, and they got a total of 98 years. That night I was on Granada Reports, and they said, is that an adequate sentence? And I said, no, it should be 98 years each. And that's what it should have been. But during my 4 years, we also tried to look at Norview. In that town hall were 17 boxes of files and evidence of the abuse.
How you doing? How you doing? Well, Nick.
When I asked for them, I was told I didn't have it in the book.
Pleasurable day. Pleasure to meet
All
you.
the
Speak to you later. Make Albion great again.
Yes, all right.
So-
I tried delaying because he said you was on your way, so
You know
I
what?
held back a little bit.
You know what? I think
Right, well,
so. I've been on a mad couple of days.
right.
In 2014,
Just mute this.
inquiry began.
He's not like that.
Which now aren't
Right, guys.
because names,
So we've been here in Rochdale,
villages,
and oh,
what
watch up, sorry. And just listened to a few speeches. Super disturbing.
We won't just twitch.
I'm going to be doing
Members of Parliament,
an interview with Billy, who's hosting this event. I'm going to come down in the next week or two. And he's going to take us around Rochdale. He's going to show us all the spots and sites and give us the history of the grooming gangs and everything that's gone down, and his experience of being an activist. So we're going to do a really nice piece on the Rochdale grooming gangs in the next couple of weeks. So stay tuned for that. But I'm going to have to go now before it finishes, because we've got to get off somewhere else. But thanks for watching. And stay tuned. I'm going to start expanding my content and doing a bit more than just the protests. We're going to start doing interviews and exposés
Thank you.
with Martin Frost, who's the Manchester Quran burner. We've exposed Warren. We're going to do the expose on that properly. I took my video down because it wasn't right. There was lots of stuff that I left out and I rushed it. So we're gonna get that done properly. I want to put out something decent, so that's why I took my video down. He thinks I'm backtracking. It's fine. Let him enjoy his day. He's making a fool of himself, calling everyone out, threatening people. So just let him crack on. But yeah, good things to come on this channel. So stay tuned and thanks for watching. And I'll speak to you soon, everyone. Take it easy.
You know, there's the beauty in the night, and then feed you your Holy Communion in the morning. That's the type of thing.